Was there a moment in this series when you really felt more like you were part of the group, or did they embrace you pretty quickly?
Well, I think when the time came that as I said earlier, I was only going to do 4 of these 5 episodes, and I came along for the 5-episode rehearsals, and I was disappointed. We'd only just heard, my agent heard that I wasn't contracted to do anymore. We hadn't realised that. Anyway, and it was that day when Michael came rushing up to me and said, "Oh, Carol, we've got a great part for you. We've written it with you in mind," and it was indeed the Scottish Sahara. He said, "In episode 7, you're blah blah blah," and I said, "Michael, I'm not going to be in episode 7." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I'm not contracted for any more." He said, "What?" And he said, well, hold on. He went and got John. John came over and said, "What's this that you're not going to be?" I said, "Blah." And then Eric came over. And that's when they decided, no, they weren't having that. They wanted me. So that's when I knew that, yes, I was very much a part of the team.
Felt great. Yeah. When you were doing it, did you realize how legendary what you were doing was going to turn out? I mean, this is so many years later, and I'm sure you've got young fans. I mean, it never stops, right?
Yeah, indeed. Well, I mean, yes, it didn't actually say in my contract that I was signing on to do a cult TV show. I mean, if it had, I would have asked for a lot more money, you know. But no, we had no idea. I mean, no idea. It took quite a while in England, too, because we were on BBC 2 late at night. Well, late for them. I mean, I think it was 10:30 in the evening on BBC 2. So a lot of people didn't see it for a long time. And, of course, it was called Monty Python's Flying Circus. So a lot of people thought it was about a flying circus. Thought it was a family, a circus act. So they didn't bother watching it. It was really word of mouth. And it wasn't till the end of the first series, but by now the word got out that this wasn't a circus act. And you should see it. So it wasn't really till the second series that we knew we had something special, and of course they never thought it would take off in America. They just didn't think it would. So it was ages before it came over here because they really thought they wouldn't get the humor. I thought they would. Terry Gilliam, being American, said yes it will, but they just doubted it. And it wasn't. I remember when we came to the New York City Center to do our first stage show, just couldn't believe the reception we got. Because even then, we just hadn't realized how big it was or could be in America. And it was when we went...
with a live audience.
Yeah, with a live audience. And we went out on stage, and of course this big reaction, and everybody knowing every word to every line of every sketch, and, saying it before we open our mouths, and then all the whooping and the wailing, which of course we're not used to in America. Woo, woo, and all the we do all... it's over there, it's very quiet and civilized over there. And it was just so mind-boggling. We thought, here we are getting the full pop star treatment, which we just weren't expecting at all. And there's this wonderful moment when after the show we went out of the stage door, and Michael was the first one out the door, and we were greeted by this vast crowd of fans all screaming. And this one female rushed forward and saying, "Michael, Michael," and threw herself at him and promptly fainted in his arms. And there was Michael, the shy one, with his fainted woman in his arms, looking about, saying, "What do I do? What do I do?" So the whole experience was so overwhelming. And then, then we suddenly realized, yeah, hey, we're big. We're being treated like pop stars. Maybe we should start behaving like pop stars. And so I remember one evening when we were all back at our hotels, it's in New York, isn't it? And one evening we'd all have a few drinks downstairs and go, yeah, okay, what do pop stars do? Okay, they trash the room. Yes. Yeah, let's trash the room. So, okay, off we go. Whose room are we going to? Michael's room. Okay, off we go to the room. And we all go in there and go, right, okay, we're going to, yeah. Okay, so I start running as about, 10 of us running around the room, just jumping on the bed, jumping up and down the bed, and get the pillows, pillow fight, and everything's all rushing around. Then we started just pushing things around and pushing the chair over that end of the room, and moving the bed around, and we took the pictures off the wall and things and moved them over there and did all this. And someone said, what do we do now? Oh, throw the television out the window. Oh, go, open the window. Pull the television over and said, no, I don't think it's going to go. Okay, well, that's it then.
And it's like a sketch.
Collapsed in a great heap on the floor. So, in fact, we didn't trash the room. All we did was...
You rearranged the furniture.
We rearranged the furniture. That's all we did. We rearranged the furniture.
Well, thank you for not trashing our hotel rooms. It would have just given,
Well, we were kicked out the next day because they said you're not behaving like pop stars, Hey, come on.
What do you mean they don't need the room made up? Hey, so when you were making the series, did the BBC have any input or censor type thing going on?
Oh, they tried. But the guys were very sort of sneaky, and they sort of didn't tell them about various things until it was too late. Oh no, I mean they were tearing their hair out. They were, oh, but you can't say that. Do you have to say, you have to say the poo word 3 times in one episode? Yes. Oh, okay. But then they got away with murder really for a while. There were a lot of complaints from people, not so much a language thing, but just the things that were going on. Animal lovers were complaining because of things.
They had cats.
Yeah, but things we were doing to cats, there was one sketch where John sort of has his cat by the tail going around his head. And so, complaints from the... wasn't a real cat, for heaven's sake. Then another time, John, I remember, sat on a cat, and so it's sort of upsetting people. Religious roots games, and then of course the eating your dead mother sketch that didn't go over terribly well with some people. Is she a cooker? Is she a cooker? Do we fire? Oh, I think she's. Anyway, so yes, there were letters from all sorts of people, religious groups, whatever. So a few people got offended along the way, but the Pythons were particularly, they just said whatever, they don't understand silliness, that's all.
Oh, it's great that you sort of got away with that and then could see the feedback as opposed to getting censored and having to have your wings clipped. Are you in touch with everybody now still?
Yeah, I mean, not a lot. I mean, Eric and John living in California, so we don't see much of them. I mean, even the guys don't see much of each other. But Terry Jones, Terry Gilliam, Michael, I do see occasionally. And the last time we were all together was last October. When was it? When the London opening of Spamalot. And we were all there for that. So every now and then we all come together. And every time I think, well, that's it. We won't meet up again. But we do. Something happens.
There's a real history there. Are you working on any projects now?
I'm doing an American play for that one, a new American play, brand new. So I'll be, playing a gang with a Montana accent. So that comes up a bit later. But, yeah, so I do mainly theatre these days. That's the theatre.
Was that how you got into acting in terms of theatre?
Well, I went to RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, and studied for a couple of years there. So theatre was the main aim, I suppose. But I very quickly, when I came out of RADA, because I'd come over from America, and I'm half and half. Actually. I'm half and half. So I have dual nationality. So I was still, a little bit American, a little bit Canadian. But that was my in into the business. At that time, there was quite a lot of work for Americans and Canadians in the film business and TV, and that was my in. I started playing Americans, and for the first 3 years of my career, I just played American roles. But that's what got me started, which was great. Theatre to begin with, and then I got into television quite quickly, and then it was both.
What's your favorite Monty Python film?
I mean, I love The Holy Grail. It's great. But I was always very keen on the last film, which was not everybody's favorite, The Meaning of Life, which I don't know if how popular that is over here. But I quite like that because it's just so bizarre.
It's one of those movies where I think you keep on seeing more in it, and it means different things to you every time you see it.
I think you're right. Yes, yeah. So looking back, I mean, they're all quite different and all wonderful.
Do you have a website to promote yourself?
I do. www.carolcleveland.com.
Many thanks to Carol Cleveland for speaking to us.